Hello, family. When Lyda Deep went to see a doctor, the cruel truth was revealed. CEO James still accepted her. To Deep sitting in the hospital waiting room. To cold hands because of worry. James sat beside her, gently holding her hand, his eyes filled with worry. The doctor walked in holding the test results in his hand. He put his glasses on, looked at Deep for a long time before speaking. She reasoned her results were a little unusual. Default text. Tim Deep beat strongly and frowned worriedly. What's unusual? She asked in a trembling voice. The doctor sighed and put the paper on the table. She had symptoms of nausea before. Dizzy and weak, right? Deep nodded. At first we also thought it was a sign of pregnancy. But after careful examination, the results showed that it was not. James and Deep looked at each other. A glimmer of hope appeared. But the doctor did not say everything. Actually, she is not pregnant, but she suffered from a serious illness. The air in the room suddenly seemed to be drained. What disease is it, doctor? James squeezed Deep's hand, his voice lowered. The doctor looked at Deep with sympathy. She was seriously poisoned by the water source. We detected heavy metal content and toxic chemicals in her body. If not treated promptly, the disease can cause serious organ damage. That sentence was like a knife stabbing into Deep's heart. She stuttered, poison, why is it like that? James stiffened, a surge of anger rising in him. John is the one behind it all. On the way back, Purple leaves are silent, to hands tightly holding the hem of the dress. She did not dare to look at James, nor did she dare to think about the future. She is sick with a serious illness. Will James still accept her? James suddenly stopped the car by the side of the road. He turned to look determined. What are you thinking? Deep bit her lip and bowed her head. I'm not worthy of you anymore. James frowned. Why did you say that? Deep clenched her hands and her voice choked. I am sick. I don't know what will happen to me if the disease is not cured. If I can't. She could not continue speaking. Tears welled up in her eyes. James took a deep breath and suddenly pulled her into his arms. Listen to me, Purple Leaf, no matter what happens to you, I will still be by your side. But I don't want you to suffer because of me. James lifted her chin so she looked straight into his eyes. Deep, have you forgotten? I love you not because you are strong or weak. No matter what happens, you are still the woman I love. Deep was stunned, tears streaming down her cheeks. Groaned and leaned down to gently kiss her forehead. We will cure you together. Don't be afraid, I will never leave you. First time after hearing the news, Deep burst into tears in James' arms. James can't let this go. He immediately ordered an investigation into the water source at Deep's house. Just one day later, Assistant Tuan had the results. Dear Mr. James, we found it in Ms. Deep's well. Traces of toxic chemicals. Furthermore, someone poured foreign substances into it within the past month. James clenched his fist. Say I did. Tuan swallowed. There's a witness saying that. Saw a man sneaking around. Approached to Mr. Deep's well. At night when describing the person, it sounded very much like John. Groaning, slamming hands on table. This is too much, John. James will not be lenient this time. James came to find John that very night. When James appeared, John just smiled faintly and raised his glass. "Come to me again. What's the matter?" James rushed up and grabbed his collar, roaring, "Did you put poison in Deep's well?" John sneered. "Where is the proof?" Gritting your teeth at night, you think I'm fine. The witness saw you. I have enough evidence to sue you in court. John pushed James's hand away and calmly fell back onto the chair. "So what but you think the law can touch me? I have money and power. And you, James, you are just a bankrupt." James clenched his fists. "You may have money, but you have no conscience. I will make you pay." John laughed and raised his glass of wine in front of James. "Then wait and see, James. The war between them is not over yet. Too Deep is not pregnant, who suffered a serious illness due to poisoning. James still accepts her, determined to cure her and protect her from all danger. But John still did not stop. The war between James and John is getting more and more intense. Can James protect the cosmos? Will James be punished? And whether their love can overcome all these storms. The story is not over yet. After knowing the truth, John is the one behind poisoning Too Deep. James couldn't sit still. He immediately called an emergency meeting with the team. "Do your own research. We need to collect 10 more solid evidence. I want it all. All information about John's recent activities, especially the people he hired," James ordered in a determined voice. Assistant Tuan nodded. "Yes, I will investigate immediately." James clenched his fists. This time he definitely won't let John escape. The doctor gave a treatment plan for Too Deep, required her to take medicine and eat. Strict abstinence. James is always there to take care of her. He didn't let her touch anything, even cooked porridge for her himself. "You don't need to do that." Too Deep looked at James with red eyes. "I want to do it and you can't refuse," James said firmly. Too Deep felt her heart melting. No matter what happened to her, James never left her side. Knowing that James was investigating him, John couldn't sit still. He immediately spread false rumors that James was going bankrupt, causing partners to panic and withdraw investment capital. James received a series of calls from shareholders. "James, is the company in trouble? We heard you can't afford to keep the project going." James understood immediately that this was John's trick. He calmly replied that it was all just a rumor. "I will soon have a satisfactory answer for everyone. But public pressure is growing. John is pushing the night to the limit." Not long after, James's father returned after many years of absence. He appeared at the company, knocked hard on James's desk. "I heard you love a country girl. There are also rumors that she is pregnant." James clenched his fists. "It's a false rumor, and no matter what, I still love her." Father James frowned. "Do you know what you are doing? No such woman is not worthy of you." James stood up. "Dad may not approve of her, but I will protect her to the end." Tension between father and son escalates. At this moment, John appeared opposite James's father. He smiled faintly. "Do you remember me?" James's father frowned. "Who was he?" John laughed coldly. He once occupied my family's land. Kick us out of the country. Now I just want you to taste the feeling of losing everything. James's father's past has been exposed. James turned to his father with doubtful eyes. "Dad, is this true?" He did not answer, just turned away. John laughed. "James, now do you know what kind of person your father is?" James clenched his fist. He could not believe his father had such a past. But anyway, he still couldn't let John hurt his family. After many days of investigation, James had clear evidence of John's poisoning. He immediately called the police and brought all the evidence to light. John was caught and he struggled and screamed, "James, you think you can beat me? I will not let it go." But James just looked at him coldly and said, "The law will punish you." John was taken away, ending the series of plots to harm James and to Deep. After all the storms, James returned to Deep's side. He held her hand tightly and said softly, "I promised to protect you, and I did." Deep looked at him with tears rolling down her face and moaned, "I love you." James smiled and pulled her into his arms. No matter how many difficulties they went through, they were still together in the end. And that is the most important thing. Leave your thoughts